So at the end of the last little episode, I had discussed about having another plan of attack. So you can see here my plan of attack. I told you about the lower door. So what I am doing with that little lower door is you can see on it, on the front, on the opposite side that I'm working on, there's that yellow. It's a button, and you can also see that there's a hole where another button is supposed to go. So I figured that I would take that panel apart, and here, this is me testing the button to see if I could push it. But my theory was, at this point, that maybe it's because I can't push that button, because the one is missing, to, start the whole ball rolling. Unfortunately, that did not end up being the case, but this was still a worthwhile endeavor, as you will see a little bit later on. I thought, okay, so, maybe that button is the go button. And lo and behold, it was not. And so I decided that I would take it apart and see whether or not the little circuit board that holds the buttons was all right, just like I did with the other parts in the first couple of installments. So it took me a little bit to get that cord routed through so I could pull it out. But they definitely... Taking that thing apart was kind of weird. So the circuit board was okay. Everything felt individually pretty flimsy, but once you got everything screwed together, it was really solid. Like I don't know, it just an anomaly that I ran into when I was doing that. So anyway, I checked the circuit board. Everything looked fine. I disconnected the connector and reseated it. The connectors looked fine. So there didn't seem to be any major issues. One thing that I did notice when I took it apart was that there was an extra thing in it. I haven't gotten enough of it back together so that you can see it. But on the table where I keep setting the screwdriver, is where I'll put it, so you'll see it, and then I'll show you what it is later on. But so this panel had the last bit of the routing for all of the pachinko balls. So the pachinko machine, it has two baskets, for the lack of a better term, and these baskets hold the pachinko balls. The top one here, the one that I'm actually working on, is the basket that holds the ones that you feed into the machine that will launch into the area and go biggity 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 all over the play field. The one below it that you can't really see because I have the door in the way is basically where your winnings go. Because I don't want to get into the full explanation of how pachinko works, but it's a gambling style game in Japan. And actually, it's that concept that led me to the course of action that I will be pursuing for next time. But I'll get to that in a little bit. So you can see it now underneath the machine on the desk there. The little piece that I found in there. It's funny. So anyway, I'm putting everything back together, making sure that the wiring is gonna because it has tension. So what I just held up was the piece that I found in there, and then the button, and I'll put a picture of what I found up here. It's a Lego. It was right in the path blocking the pachinko balls, so it's a good thing that I opened up this panel, even though at the end of the day it ended up being pretty fruitless. But so I was talking about the fact that this is a gambling game. It reminded me of something. I never looked up how to get into the settings for this thing. So maybe the problem the whole time has been it's not in the right mode for free play, because there's machines that the pachinko machines get hooked up to that help them keep track, because in and of itself it doesn't. So without one of those, maybe there's a mode that I need to set it in so that it can run without it's a counting machine, basically. So that's what I'll be looking up for next time.